She expected the human to kill her, but he did something completely unexpected. The battlefield was silent now, except for the soft hiss of cooling metal and the crackle of dying fires. Smoke drifted in ragged curls across the shattered ruins of the outpost, and the scent of ozone and scorched earth hung heavy in the air. Lieutenant Caravay knelt in the dust, her claws twitching in pain, her chest heaving with shallow breaths. Her armor was ruined, half melted from a plasma blast, and blood seeped between the plates. Above her stood the human soldier who had taken down her unit in less than 4 minutes. She'd heard the stories about him. Captain Daniel Holt, the silent spear. Efficient, cold, unstoppable. The kind who never hesitated to finish the job. She had fought hard, harder than she thought she could. But now her weapon lay shattered beside her, and she waited for the end. Her people and his had been locked in war for generations. There was no mercy in this war. No prisoners. She locked eyes with him, baring her fangs in defiance. If she was going to die, she would face it with dignity. "Do it," she rasped. "Finish me." Daniel didn't move. His rifle stayed pointed at her for a long, tense moment. The visor of his helmet hid his eyes, but she could feel his gaze, measuring her, deciding. Then, slowly, he lowered the rifle. Kara blinked. "What?" Without a word, he crouched in front of her, setting the rifle aside. His gauntlet hands moved to his belt, unclipping a small medkit. Her ears twitched in confusion. "What are you?" He pressed a clotting patch against the wound on her side. The gel stung like fire, and she hissed in reflex, jerking away. "Hold still," he said, his voice calm but firm. The sound startled her. Human voices were different, less guttural than her people's, but there was a strange depth in his tone, something almost gentle. She stared at him as he worked quickly, sealing the bleeding and stabilizing her breathing. His movements were precise, practiced. He'd done this many times, just never, she assumed, for someone like her. "You should be killing me," she whispered. "Not this." "War's over," he said simply. Kara's ears flattened in disbelief. "Over? My command hasn't said anything." "Because they don't know yet," Daniel replied, checking the seals on her damaged armor. "The treaty was signed 3 hours ago. Orders came through to stop engagements immediately." She laughed bitterly. "And you think I'll just believe that? That you're not tricking me?" He finally looked directly into her eyes. Through the faint reflection on his visor, she saw them, human eyes, sharp and clear. "If I wanted you dead," he said, "you wouldn't be breathing right now." That silenced her. When he finished patching her wounds, he stood and offered his hand. "Can you walk?" Kara hesitated. Her people were taught never to take a human's hand, unless it was to fight. But something in his expression, not pity, not arrogance, but a quiet resolve, made her reach up and grip it. His strength was surprising. He lifted her easily, supporting her weight without a word. They started walking through the ruins, stepping over twisted steel and shattered stone. "Why?" she asked after a while. "Why help me?" Daniel kept his eyes forward. "Because we're not enemies anymore, and I've seen enough bodies for one lifetime." The sincerity in his voice made her chest ache in a way she didn't understand. She had grown up with stories of humans as merciless destroyers. The idea that one would choose compassion over vengeance didn't fit into anything she knew. They reached the edge of the battlefield, where a temporary med station had been set up. A mixed crew, human and alien medics together, were already tending to survivors from both sides. Kara's eyes widened. "You're serious. The war really ended." Daniel gave a small nod. "It's not going to be easy. A lot of people on both sides won't be ready to stop fighting. But this is the first step." A medic hurried over to take her from him, but she didn't let go of his arm just yet. "You could have left me there," she said softly. You could have walked away. I could have, he agreed. But then I'd be just another soldier in a war that's already taken too much from both of us. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Two survivors from opposite sides of a long and bloody history. Then she released his arm and allowed the medics to lead her away. As they patched her up more thoroughly, Kara found herself glancing back at him. He was already helping another wounded soldier, this one human, just as carefully as he had helped her. She realized something then. Maybe peace wasn't just a piece of paper signed by leaders. Maybe it started with moments like this, when someone chose mercy over hate. And maybe, just maybe, she would see him again, not as an enemy, but as something entirely new,